Welcome to PACTV Community News. I'm Maureen Boyle.
And I'm Julie Thompson.
This week on PCN, we stop by the Knights of Columbus in Pembroke for the Future is Female fashion show.
We stop into the brand new farmers market in Kingston, and we hear the story of pirates in Plymouth.
There are some big changes coming to how you recycle in Plymouth, and we have a new Car Doctor segment on summer travel safety.
And we finish the show with Blake Dinius, the Plymouth County Entomologist, on set to bring you more information to protect yourself from tick-borne illnesses this season. But tonight, we start tonight's show in Plymouth. The Plymouth International Chorus met up once again this year at the new Plymouth South High School, featuring American students from Plymouth, Massachusetts school system from grades 5 and up, as well as several students from Plymouth, England. The audience enjoyed a night of songs designed to unite the two countries separated by thousands of miles of ocean.
Tonight we have the 4th concert of the Plymouth International Chorus. The project started in 2015 when around 30 young people from Plymouth, Massachusetts came to Plymouth, England to sing. And then since then we've had an exchange going, and this is the 2nd visit over to Massachusetts by a choir from Plymouth, England.
We are coming together in song. We're singing both national anthems from both countries, and then we'll sing about 4 songs all together. There will be some songs that the UK kids do by themselves. There's a few songs that we do by ourselves. There's some songs that the children who traveled to England sing with just the UK kids. So it's just all different mixtures, but amazing singing.
It's an absolute privilege to be part of it. In 2015, when we had the first Plymouth International Chorus concert, I was involved with my primary school where I teach and some singers there, and I knew they were moving on to their next school, and there was nothing in Plymouth for them to continue to sing with their friends because they go on to many different secondary schools. So that's how the Legacy Choir came about as a result of this project, and now there's a place in Plymouth for children to sing together regardless of which school they go to, and we can get involved in amazing projects like this.
This is amazing. It's just incredible. We've made personal connections with the directors, and then to have the kids come together and sing, and they just love to be together, and they hang out and they're having fun together, but then they're singing together, and it's been really amazing. I would like the audience tonight to really see that these kids are coming together, and not only they're coming together in song, but they're coming together across, the ocean to be together and share in this amazing experience. And it's all about the cultural connections and as our song says, we sing to bring us together. So that's exactly what it is.
I hope they really see the joy of singing in the faces that they saw of the young people. We're trying to build a community through singing together, even though we're 4,000 miles apart, and to see the young people and the hopes they have and the enthusiasm for the project, I hope that will send everybody away a little bit more positive about the world.
Maria Wood's quest to empower young girls so that they will become strong women continues with her latest annual Fashion Focus event. The theme this year was The Future is Female, and we were on hand as the girls took the runway to express themselves.
The theme of the show tonight is The Future is Female, and we're excited because there's a lot of positive momentum happening for women of all ages, and this particular generation, especially the teenagers, seem to really be embracing it, and they're sort of our hope for the future, and we're really excited. The future is female. It's a fashion show, but it's just a platform that we use. It's really to celebrate individuality, confidence, uniqueness, and they're kind of coming out of their shell a little bit and understanding that doing things that maybe scare them a little bit will help them grow. And that's really the concept of confidence, is stepping outside of their comfort zone, doing something that challenges their status quo, and walking away from it with a new sense of self and a new sense of confidence. This is so not about modeling, and that's sort of a misconception about what I do here. I've chosen this platform because it's challenging for some. And we always talk about how true beauty comes from within. So this is a chance for them to go out, be themselves, be brave, be strong, dress however they want. They don't want to wear a dress, they can wear pants, they can wear a tuxedo. I don't care, but it's not about modeling, it's about being sort of a role model, a model citizen, somebody who you're proud to be. And the stage, the platform, whatever it may be, is just It's just the icing on the cake. It's a reason to celebrate. I know that anybody who hasn't been to one of my events before will leave here pretty overwhelmed and pretty motivated, because that's what I've heard. I didn't know that this is what you did. This was wonderful. Like, it's an aha moment for somebody who doesn't really know what we do. They get it. We're an empowerment program for girls to help them be who they're supposed to be, so they can work, go out in this world, and kind of be a little bit more resilient to all of the things that are being thrown their way. So I think when people leave here, they leave here happy, they leave here enlightened, and really in a good mood. And I have a great DJ, we celebrate, we dance in our seats, and that to me is the joy of putting this whole program together and putting this whole event together, is happiness.
Well, I think any opportunity to raise up a young woman and give her any kind of confidence building skill, whatever it is their choice to do, I think is a good idea. Rather than teaching them there's a role for them to fill, there's a choice.
Right, and here you are. And Maria's been doing this for a very long time, working with young ladies to really bring out the best in them, and we really appreciate that. The focus behind her fashion focus is really getting the best for the girls themselves moving forward.
Yeah.
One of the best things about the summer is fresh produce in outdoor markets. The town of Kingston recently launched its brand new farmers market in the Kingston Collection parking lot. The opening day was a great success. PCN was there to bring you more.
I'm the founder and president of the Kingston Farmers Market. I had the idea back in November of bringing this to the community, and from there I set up some meetings and found a wonderful board of 7 other women, and we created the nonprofit that is Kingston Farmers Market, Inc.
So the Kingston Farmers Market Board is made up of 8 women, and we have worked together to bring the market to the community. We have a lot of different vendors here today.
We have about 25 vendors, meat, fish, 2 vegetable vendors, several bakeries. We have flowers, seedlings, plants.
The pop-up is something that the food pantry wanted to do in order to advertise the existence of the family shelter and the food pantry in Kingston.
Well, primarily, initially we wanted to have a vibrant gathering place. I think we've achieved that, and also allow for food to be, for everyone to have access to local food. A lot of planning and logistics were needed to bring this event today. We started in November and have been working together with weekly and daily communication to work with town officials to gain permits and to create regulations and bylaws so we can have a wonderful day.
It's awesome to see this tremendous turnout today. We had a lot of people respond on social media. We're really hoping that at least 1/3 of the people that said they were planning on coming would actually show up, and it looks like they probably have or are intending to.
My favorite part about the market is really seeing all of the community come together and to get out and to meet the different vendors and to really see where their food is coming from, and to just to gather together as a community.
We've interacted with a lot of our customers and potential customers on social media prior to the event, and we had a vendor meet and greet before the date of the first market, which was really amazing and felt like it was truly building of a community.
In 1646, privateers found themselves in Plymouth Harbor looking for a place to stay. Local reenactment group, the Plymouth Guard, opened doors at the Spire Center to show the community what had happened when privateers spent time in Plymouth. PCN stopped in to find the outcome of pirates coming ashore to Plymouth.
Today's event celebrates a very tiny and little-known piece of Plymouth's history. It's in its early days. So here was Plymouth. Many of the townspeople had moved into other communities. The town was not doing very well. And suddenly 3 ships show up in the harbor, laden with gold that was taken from the Spanish. they needed a place to stay. And when the town realized that there was gold on board the ships, why not let them stay? I'll give it away. I, as Captain Cromwell, end up killing Voisin by mistake, and the town decides that I need to go on trial for it. And I demand that it's done by a council of war. In other words, the way a soldier would be tried, because Cromwell is a professional soldier and ship's captain. And they granted that. And I'll have to let you see what happens with the trial.
A few years ago, we read William Bradford's history all night in the First Church uptown. And when we got to 6 o'clock in the morning, and the next to the last chapter in the book, we discovered a story that none of us had really paid attention to. And that was that pirates visited Plymouth in 1646. We looked at the story and said, it's perfect reenactment. My favorite part really is the fact that we're involving not only the pirate groups who mostly come from out of town, but we're involving a lot of the organizations in town who are interested in history. All these groups have all been able to come together through Pirates Ashore and work together to make things happen here. And it's really great fun.
This is such a little known moment in Plymouth's history. And as the Mayflower Society, so we're the ambassadors of all things Pilgrim, it just seems like such a relevant moment in time to speak about. Because without this invasion of these pirates, Plymouth could have possibly moved, become Kingston South. It could have just not existed. And then we wouldn't have the kind of community we have here today. Well, first, when I first started this reenactment, I didn't know there was a difference between privateers and pirates. So finding out that pirates kind of work for themselves and privateers work for a government was really interesting to me, because it was just so funny to imagine a government would be like, go out there and just do some stuff, bring us back things. And then finding out that that's why, these pirates didn't invade the town. They asked and we let them in. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we welcomed this disaster ourselves. I mean, there's a bunch of guys who are dressed up and there's a bunch of goofy things all around, but in reality, it's a story of just like understanding our town and understanding where we've come from and understanding that sometimes you have to hit, some potholes in order to get to your final destination. Because in reality, this pirate invasion was just a little pothole in Plymouth's history.
Due to changes in recycling policy in this country, communities are facing tough decisions regarding our recyclable waste. PCN met up with Jonathan Beater of the Plymouth DPW to talk about the relevant changes that are coming to Plymouth.
If you live in Plymouth, you probably know there have been some changes to the way the town deals with waste.
There's been a lot of changes over the past couple of weeks in terms of solid waste here in Plymouth. One is recycling here at the transfer station has changed. There's been a lot of changes in the market globally, and not only just in Plymouth, New England, the U.S., but internationally we've seen a lot of changes in the markets which have had impacts on us here in Plymouth. We are now separating glass, as you can see behind me. We at the transfer station accept mixed paper, cardboard, commingled. Used to be the glass was in the commingles. We pulled that out to try to control costs better.
The transfer station in Manamet is currently open Friday through Tuesday from 8 to 4 p.m. and is closed Wednesday and Thursday.
What's changed in addition to the recycling component of the transfer station is the curbside program. Recently we have terminated the contract with ABC Disposal, so we do expect some changes here at the transfer station with an increase in volume.
The town's contract with ABC Disposal, which currently serves about 6,000 residents, ends on June 30th. If residents decide to stay with the company, they can keep the barrels. Otherwise, the barrels will be picked up. Residents then have decisions to make.
They can go with many haulers that are approved through the Board of Health, and they can stay with ABC, or they can choose any of those other ones. Or they can come sign up at the transfer station. Transfer station's $168 a year. We also recycle batteries, air conditioning, white goods. We have compost. We take leaf clippings. So there's a number of services here at the transfer station that residents can use. The biggest issue with ABC was sustainability. We were concerned with the status of ABC. They had told us on multiple occasions that they were going to stop picking up recycling after July 1st. That in tandem with just some financial stability issues and what happens after July 1 in terms of the program. So for us it was a timing thing, and we had to make a decision in terms of how the program would look into the future. As of today as well, we have about 3,000 residents that use the transfer station. We think we can handle up to about 5,000 residents, so we'd have to track the usage in terms of how those peak period, drop-off periods work, just to make sure that it's not overcrowded here and people can get in and out comfortably. We are permitted for about 200 tons per week, 50 tons per day. Originally, the ABC contract, it was an 8-year contract. We're in the 5th year of that. So again, that is kind of an unexpected change, but we are here to help the residents.
Refunds for the cost of the pay-as-you-throw orange trash bags will be issued at some stores and at the town's collector's office if the package of bags is unopened.
If anybody has any questions or wants to offer some insight in terms of the program, they can call me anytime. I'm at 508-830-4162, extension 12107. Happy to discuss, any of the curbside issues or the transfer station issues or why we're making some of these changes.
Reporting in Manamet for PACTV Community News, I'm Walter Cicchetti.
Is your car ready for the summer? We met up with the AAA car doctor to find out what we can do to get our vehicles ready for the hot months ahead.
Hi, I'm John Paul, AAA's car doctor. Summertime's here, which means summertime travel, and it's time to make sure your car is ready for that. And there's a few things you need to look at. When it comes to windshield wiper blades, most people only think about them when it's raining. And then they notice they're skipping and they're chattering, they're not doing their job. Well, pull them up, take a look at them. If they're torn or ripped, replace them. If they just look sticky and gooey, wipe them all down. A little bit of denatured alcohol or a good window cleaner is usually enough to get them clean and working good again. When it comes to tires, you need to look for bulges and breaks around the edge of the tire. It's pothole season, so you want to make sure the tires didn't suffer from potholes. Also, you want to measure the tread across the tire, make sure there's good tread on the car, because a tire that's worn down to 230 seconds or 330 seconds of rubber is not going to stop as well as in wet weather as a good tire will. And then also you want to look at tire pressure. A lot of times in the summertime we add extra weight to our car because we're going on vacation. You want to make sure the tires are properly inflated. It's actually the air that holds the car up, not necessarily the tires. There's certain vital fluids in the car. There's a half a dozen or so: brake fluid, power steering fluid, engine oil, transmission fluid, antifreeze, and windshield washer fluid. Those are sort of the main ones. And just like wintertime, you want to make sure they're all topped off. Same thing for the summertime. Engine oil helps prevent overheating. So you want to make sure the engine oil is clean and full, and also check all the rest of those vital fluids and make sure they're right up to the full mark, and that's going to help protect your engine and all the components they lubricate. People think about batteries failing in cold weather. That's when the battery seems to work the most, but it's actually hot weather that can be really detrimental to a battery. So you go to the movies, you come out, you turn the key, you get nothing at all. That's because the battery failed in hot weather. So summertime is hard on batteries. In fact, batteries in hot weather states like Florida fail twice as often as they do here in New England. So go someplace, have the battery tested. There's a lot of different equipment they can test the battery with today and give you a good idea on its life. If the battery looks marginal, just replace it. One less headache to worry about. If you do these few things, your car will be in reasonably good shape and you'll be able to get through summer without any problems.
We are so pleased to have on set today Blake Dinius, who is the entomologist for Plymouth County. Correct?
Correct.
Okay, and an entomologist is a gentleman or a woman who studies
insects, and it extends to other things too, like some of the creepy crawlies like spiders and ticks.
Okay, but the biggest reason that you were actually hired last August by Plymouth County is because of ticks.
That's correct.
And the objective was to
lower the incidence rates of tick-borne diseases in the county through the strategy is, the idea behind it is to educate the public on all of the scientifically proven methods.
Right, and there's a lot of misinformation out there about ticks.
That's absolutely correct.
A ton of it. Mm-hmm. What is the most important misinformation that's out there about ticks?
Honestly, most people think that, for instance, a harsh winter is going to have a noticeable impact on ticks. I have to say that that's one of the biggest misconceptions.
Okay. The ticks can be around no matter what.
Absolutely, and we see them year-round, especially the black-legged ticks. We'll see year-round. Anytime the weather gets above freezing, you'll have tick activity.
Okay. Now, almost every creature on this earth, or everything, was created as part of the grand circle of life. It feeds something else. Ticks are basically just bad actors, right?
Absolutely. They're parasites. You can kind of think of them like thieves in a neighborhood. A lot of times people ask me, what's their purpose? Well, thieves in a neighborhood don't really have a purpose either.
There's nothing good to be said about a tick.
They're bad guys. They're certainly bad guys.
We've made that clear. Yes. There's possibly some research going on about saliva of ticks or something that maybe can be used as a positive down the road.
So tick saliva is really complicated. It's very complex. If you ask anyone who's doing research on ticks, they'll even admit that that's probably one of the most fascinating aspects of a tick. And there's, like you mentioned, there's some research in the medical community on what are some of the benefits, what are the silver linings that ticks can provide for us as humans.
Because we got to find those. Because these guys have none right now.
Yes.
So that's being worked on.
That's being worked
medical
on.
labs.
Yep, and they're making good progress. There's a lot of stuff coming out that looks promising.
Great. Okay. Now, ticks, how do they affect human beings? Well, let's talk about that first.
So the ticks, as we mentioned earlier, they're parasites. And they're looking to, they must feed on blood.
Okay.
They're called obligate blood feeders.
Okay.
That's the only thing they eat. And so they're looking to find a spot on our body, hunker down, and feed for a really long time. What's amazing about them is that they only ever eat 3 times in their entire life at most.
Really?
And so you have to think everything that they need to sustain their entire life cycle has to come from these three
meals.
These 3 meals. So everything about them is geared around staying on us for a long time.
Right.
And that in addition to taking our blood, there's also a lot of pathogens and organisms that reside inside the tick that are looking to use the tick as what we call a vector.
Sure.
And kind of take that slip and slide
Yeah,
down.
here you go. Here's my bad stuff. I'm going to now give it to you.
Exactly.
You poor person that just
And they have a life cycle that is dependent on these ticks.
Okay. So let's get to the blood and guts. How bad are they this year, or are they just as bad every year?
Exactly, the latter.
Okay.
I don't foresee them being any worse this year than they have been any other year.
We still have to just be really diligent.
Absolutely. I kind of look at it like if a weatherman forecasts rain, it doesn't matter if we get half an inch or an inch, you've got to bring your umbrella.
That's right. You still have to protect yourself from the rain. Okay. What drives the tick population?
So there's a lot of good research coming out right now, but I don't know if anyone quite has a crystal ball just yet. There's different ideas being explored, and it's very fascinating, but we don't know.
We don't know.
So
we're still in the process. We do know that ticks do not like dry, arid places, correct?
That's correct.
So they would not do well in the desert, right? They like moisture.
They like moisture, and especially with regards to the black-legged tick. Now, there's 2 other ticks that we have in this area: Lone Star tick and American dog tick, and those are human-feeding ticks as well. They're a little bit more tolerant of dry conditions, but they'll still dry out given enough time. But the black-legged tick, especially, or the deer tick, that dries out very rapidly.
And we're going to show this. We have a little example of how tiny these ticks really are, and we'll show it on our screen for the folks at home to see. But they're so small that it's almost impossible to see them sometimes. So what's the importance of tick checks, and how do we avoid the ticks from ever sticking to us in the first place?
Get in the habit of doing a daily tick check. As I always like to say, it's like getting people to start brushing their teeth that have never brushed their teeth in their entire life. But you start to get really good at it. For instance, for me, it takes me maybe 30 to 40 seconds, and I do a tick check every single day. I come in immediately after I'm outside. I take a shower, get undressed, get in front of a mirror, and I check my body for ticks. Now, a lot of people will say that their vision isn't what it used to be.
Right.
And I would recommend using your fingertips, because very often your fingertips are a little bit more sensitive than maybe your eyesight. So you can feel
them. Right.
Exactly. And if you notice maybe a new freckle or new mole, then you might want to take a closer examination at that.
And see if that's a tick.
Exactly. It could be a tick.
So let's say you get bit by a tick and the tick is on you. What is the proper way to take the tick off?
Get a handy pair of tweezers.
Tweezers, yep.
And what you want to do is you want to come in from the side
of the tick.
Side of the tick. And you want to grasp really close, as possible to your skin. And then just pull straight up. It's as easy as that.
Okay.
Slow and steady force. It might feel like your skin is kind of getting pulled up.
But it
is actually.
It is, right. But you'll get the whole tick.
Not necessarily all the time. Sometimes with what we call the hypostome, sometimes that's left inside the tick. It's a feeding tube. It's a beak-like organ. And that's okay.
It'll fall off.
Yeah, if that's in your body, it's a little bit like a splinter.
Okay, we'll get rid of that. So if you want to save the tick, you put it into a plastic bag. If for some reason you feel, I better save this tick.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I would honestly recommend saving the tick, if for nothing else, than to have the tick identified. Because what we know about the diseases present inside ticks, knowing the species can be really important information for medical diagnosis. And so having that information just gives you more power.
Right. Like Lyme disease comes from only certain types of ticks, and other Rocky Mountain spotted fever comes from other types of ticks.
Exactly.
So if we have the tick, don't throw it down the drain, don't burn it, put it in the bag.
Yep. And then you can actually have that identified, and you can have it tested as well.
Right. And there's places you can go to actually have your tick tested before you need to be tested, if you want to do that.
Yes.
So I know as a parent, you find a tick on your child, and the first thing you think is, oh, I got to get my child to the doctor right away. I need to have a test.
Absolutely.
You don't necessarily have to do that right away, but there's ways. It's really important to save the tick.
Yes, it's important to save the tick.
Okay.
And what the testing can help with is knowing what pathogens are inside that tick. It doesn't mean that you're guaranteed to have those, but it lets you know your level of risk with those. Now, for instance, if you got a tick and there was nothing in it, there were no pathogens, there you go,
You're pretty good, right.
But if there were other pathogens, let's say there was more than just the pathogens that cause Lyme, then the doctor might be looking for other things as well.
Okay. One last thing before we have to go, and I hate the fact that this goes so fast, is to go outside for mosquitoes. You do mosquito sprays with DEET.
Yes.
What do you do to protect your clothes and your skin from ticks?
So for your clothing, I highly recommend that you start using permethrin.
Okay.
That's the best thing. It's a spray that you apply only to your clothes, but that will repel and kill ticks.
Okay.
Now, if you want to, for your skin, because permethrin is for clothes only, you want to use 4 of the EPA registered repellents. That's DEET, picaridin, oil of lemon eucalyptus, and this thing IR 3535, which is found in Avon Skin So Soft plus Bug Guard.
Okay. So all this I can find on your website.
Yes.
What is the website?
The website is PlymouthCountyExtension.org.
PlymouthCountyExtension.org. And there's also, and you have a couple, there's TickSpotters.org, there's TickReport.com. There's a whole bunch of different places you can go for more directed information. But it's such a massive subject that there's no way we can cover this in 8 minutes.
No, absolutely not.
So the idea is to go to the website, and you also have your schedule where you go out and give presentations.
Correct.
Listed there.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Great information. Thank you so much. We'll have an update from you going forward.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for watching. If you want to see the show again, you can check out our website, and PCN is also on YouTube. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook to get up-to-date info. We will see you next week with a brand new PCN and the season finale of PCN Life. From all of us at PACTV, have a great week.